they have so much money outstanding is because they have no way to force
That's correct.
people to pay their bills because they cannot shut off the water, because you can pay your water bill and you have a receipt. I paid this
Right.
bill, you can't shut my water off, so
Right.
they can keep flushing. If we undid this, and like I said, when people get their water bills, and this comes up shortly after this, a customer service charge from $28 to $49, and a 23% rate increase in your water rates, you may not have the problem that you suggest we may have.
Well, we
Did I
tried
see-
to point that out at the last town meeting, that the actual budget for the water department was quite high compared to other water departments. And that was probably the main reason as to what, the problem that we have over there, number one, is we have more employees employed compared to sizable enterprises in other communities. I mean, there's a number of things, and all of those have to be communicated so people understand what the issue is, that you can't shut off the water if they pay because you have a sewage issue.
Well, like, as I said, this is coming up in another thing, but when people get their water bills, they may be of a different opinion than they were at the past town meeting.
Jeffrey. Yeah. I see in the paper that they just lost a lawsuit down at the treatment plant, didn't they?
At the sewer plant?
Yes, they did. Rapucci won his lawsuit about charging people so much hookups for sewer. Now, how much is that gonna affect these other people that the sewer department had charged a $20,000 rate, $12,000 rate? Rapucci won his case. How much did that cost us?
I
Rapucci
don't
won.
believe, I don't believe that's a
They took
correct.
that out of their excess money.
They took it out of
As
their
far
excess
as
money?
a lawsuit, won or lost, that's not on the agenda. It's not something but I don't believe they lost their lawsuit. Luann?
As far as collections, the only way the sewer is collecting right now on their back bills is I'm putting on sewer liens on their tax bills. This year alone, I'm putting on, I bet you, anywhere over 75 liens going on properties, of people that haven't even touched their sewer bills. For the water department, I may be putting on one. That's it. So, I mean, the only way the sewer department is getting their collections is by us. When the tax bill's going out on January 1st, there's probably over 75 liens going on people's properties.
They did say they were still having
You know.
problems doing collections.
Yeah, and these are way uncollected debts, couple of years, so the amounts are very high.
Big, bad, mean assessor.
No, just putting the numbers in. I don't send the bill.
Speaking of assessors, what brings the gardener assessor to Templeton?
I don't think you want to know until new business.
Well, I'll be a while, because there's no new business section.
Yeah, I mean, I think Will's just trying to point out that this is something that we need to educate the people on. When they get their bill and see the new rates, that's certainly gonna be one form of education. The thing that I don't think people realize or understand is why having water and sewer separate is a bad thing. That's what we need to educate them on, that those two departments work hand in hand, not the electricity and the water. They don't work hand in hand. I'll bet if we looked at the Commonwealth, there is probably, unless they have a DPW, there's probably no other light and water together.
There's only one other.
One of
Yeah, so, my personal opinion is we do need to rescind this, and we do need to get the public's opinion on it, but there does have to be some education too.
I'm willing to do what needs to be done to get the information.
You all set?
Yeah. But, you know,
Yeah, I support putting this on. I've tried in other ways to try to gauge opinion of people. And I think having it on a ballot, but it's not binding, people can go in and vote without pressure, like at a town meeting. So that's why I would support putting this on.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say that I agreed with Selectman Farrell that I think that because there really are no potential financial consequences for this vote going one way or another, I support putting it on. Right. So,
We don't get.
right, exactly. So I support putting it on.
Bev?
Jeffrey, I know the assessors put the liens on, but that doesn't bother anyone if they're planning not to sell their house, they're not going anywhere. So this can add up, and it has no effect.
But if they, unless they go get like a second mortgage or
Second
anything like
mortgage, or
that.
banks are gonna
Refinance.
force them to pay it, banks aren't
Other
gonna
than
want
that-
liens on it, and the majority of people have mortgages. I
Just-
mean, most people have refinanced and do have mortgages,
Yep.
and that's how they're gonna get their collections. That's really the
But
only
that's a,
way.
that's a hard way to do
Because
it.
the,
It is.
sometimes the hard way is the only way you have.
That's right.
That mean assessor over there. So,
Picking on you.
anything else? All right. A motion to place this on the ballot.
I would make a motion to place draft non-binding ballot question number 2 on the ballot for the January special election as written.
As written?
Yep.
I will second that.
Okay. Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Nope. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Yes. As I say, I believe the education will be when people get their water bill. All right. Moving right along.
Can I ask one question before we move?
Yes.
Does anybody know what percentage of residents have town water versus well? I mean, is it 60% of the town is on town water?
I
or-
believe there are 2,182 customers.
2,200.
Right. About 2,200 customers and I think, what, 4,000?
Yeah,
Residences?
sewer only has about 1,200.
14 now.
About 14.
Yeah. So, but what percentage of that is of all the housing in Templeton has public
You're
water?
only around 4,000.
4,000.
4,000. That's all, that's total passes.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
That's total passes.
Okay, so what number do we have in total? Because we know we have
You're probably around.
2,200 water customers.
Probably about 60.
60%, that'd be roughly
60%?
right.
That's what I'd say, about 60%.
All right. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
Somewhere I had it.
Get it well. Get it well.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to discuss sending a second letter to the Department of Revenue concerning Water Department clarification, whether in fact it is an enterprise fund under Mass General Law 53 and a half, or is it covered under Chapter 164? And why was the enterprise fund removed from the town's recap sheet?
Make a motion that we
Uh,
send yet another
okay.
letter to Commissioner Pitter? Pitter.
Amy Bitter.
Is there anyone higher up the food chain we can send it to?
Think anyone's listening to us.
The Secretary of Administration and Finance is her boss, the governor is that person's boss.
Well, perhaps we should send it to her and CC those
CCC those?
two higher ups. And clearly specify in the letter that this is our second request.
So this first letter went out in October. And now we're here in December.
And it's a financial hardship.
And we haven't heard from, anything back from Senator Brewer, have we? regarding the letter we sent?
No.
Okay.
So,
I made the motion.
did it include CCN?
I will amend it to include the, who is it?
Secretary of Administration and Finance
Okay.
and Governor of the Commonwealth.
I'll second that motion as amended.
Motion made and seconded. And again, this would send a second letter to the DOR concerning the Water Enterprise Fund. Is it an enterprise fund under 53.5? And why was it removed from the town's recap sheet? And just background, I had sent an email to the commissioner. I heard back. I asked for if there was a case law, a legal opinion, basically what did they base the decision to remove it from the town's recap sheet. I received a response from, I can't remember his name, but he's the second in charge for Division of Local Services, and said they had none, but if they received a request from the Board of Selectmen, they would come up with one. We sent the letter and have not heard back. So sending a second letter and CCing it to Finance and the Governor. Perhaps we will hear back if we keep ringing the doorbell. Hopefully somebody's bound to answer eventually. So, motion made and seconded.
Point of discussion, town council pointed out to us at the annual town meeting in May that the one way to get a swift and certain answer to this question is to enact a bylaw that the Attorney General is, as a matter of law, required to review and answer within 21 days from the date of enactment of that bylaw to give you definitive black-letter law that settles this once and for all. Town meeting voted that down. That is a direct path. It is the only way this town will get a binding legal answer of that. I am certain. Thank you.
And on that note, people get their water bills with the rates and customer service charge. Town meeting vote may change, if that is on there again. All right, motion made and seconded. No more discussion. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. And that is for the entire board to sign.
Yep.
The next item we have is to discuss, and I forget why this is on, water rates and customer billing fees. Again, this is, the Board of Selectmen really has no jurisdiction over this. It's just, it does affect the taxpayers. And I think it deserves some discussion by the board, which is the main body that represents the townspeople. It's certainly probably the most watched, maybe school committee even. It's usually the most attended, and it's where people, as Mr. Robinson alluded to our last meeting, he has well, he does not have town water, but he certainly heard about the rates increases. So what exactly we can do is limited. It's We could perhaps send a letter to the commissioners under Chapter 56. We could summon the general manager of Light and Water. 23% rate increase and a customer service charge from $28 to $49 is kind of high. And it's done all at once. You can go to the Templeton Light and Water website. If you click on water, the rate study is there. You can read the whole thing. It's all in color and everything. It explains the options they had, their debt, all of that. You will find the letter that went out to Templeton Water customers explaining the hows and whys of why they looked, why the rate study was done. It cites will increase the existing water rates by 23% in fiscal 2014. It states new water rates will raise the average water customer's quarterly bill from $138 to $170, depending on your water you use. One of the things given in the water rate study was the gallonage sold has gone down, so their revenues have gone down. So to make up for that, they've raised their rate and their customer service charge. They also have a connection fee of about, I think, $2,900. Which I don't know if that could be determined to be a tax, what the financial implications that would be, which is one of the things that came up with the sewer suit, which that is all over, and it should be public information. If it's not already, it should be shortly. Anyone else on the board have any input on this or want to address this?
Yeah. I wrote a sample letter to the Inspector General asking for an investigation. It's something for your consideration. Do you have an extra one? Oh, I think I have one. This letter is addressed to the Office of the Inspector General. The Templeton Board of Selectmen is writing to you to request an investigation into the activities of the Templeton Municipal Light and Water Commission. The General Manager of the Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant recently sent a letter to water customers in the town of Templeton informing water customers of a 23% rate hike. The Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant Commissioners did not hold a public hearing before rates were increased. See the attached letter. The Templeton Board of Selectmen believes proper notification of a water rate hike as well as an increase in the customer service charge from $28 per quarter to $49 per quarter is necessary. Templeton also requires the following determination from the Inspector General's office regarding the nature of Templeton's water enterprise system. Does the town's water enterprise system operate under Mass General Law 164 or under Mass General Law Chapter 44, 53F and a half? When the legislature enacted Chapter 93 Acts of 2000, which regulatory interpretation was approved? Currently, the water department receipts are not being recorded by the town as local receipts, nor as town enterprise fund revenues. The town of Templeton needs an immediate clarification of the town's water enterprise. In addition to the water rates and enterprise fund, the Templeton Board of Selectmen would like an investigation into the finances of the Massachusetts Municipal Light Department Wind Energy Cooperative Corporation, of which Templeton Municipal Light is a member. The Templeton Board of Selectmen would like an investigation into the finances and bonds related to the John Leclerc wind turbine. I believe the water receipts and the financing of the wind turbine are related.
Anyone else on the board have any input? I would entertain a motion to send this letter as addressed, signed by the board of all members. I think that just, when we're sending these letters of request to look at any of the town business, if it's signed by the entire board, I just think it presents that it's just not one person's item, it's the Board of Selectmen as a whole requesting something.
Yeah, I would make that motion, because it is, it is unfortunate that it's such a dramatic increase all at once. Especially, consider the economics of the community, and, everybody struggling, and then to take a huge hit like this, all at once is, it's just not really very fair, so could have been spread out, I believe. So I would make this motion.
I will second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just so you're aware, the town of Westminster did both a water and the sewage by Wright and Pierce. And it, basically, they looked at 10 communities, all the same size, all in Worcester County. And we have, before our increase, we have the highest rate per se, when you look at that. The state average is about $500, right? Previous to them raising the rates, according to Ty Bond, who also did a report in 2012, that our rates on average were $801 a year. I mean, I want to just point those two things out, because we seem to be on the upper end of that particular scale just for Worcester County. There is plenty of information out there showing that that's the case. In fact, when you look at the like-sized apartments, as I stated in a previous meeting and pointed out the annual town meeting, our budget for the water department, as it stands now, is somewhere between $400 and $600 greater than same-sized communities with water departments, and some of them are serving, the same amount of people. So I just want to point those two things out to you. There is some disparity here.
And that was before the increase.
Right. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. All right. All right, the fun begins. Next item on the agenda is the approval of liquor licenses and the establishments concerned. The American Legion, Baldwinville Pizza, Baldwinville Station, Bubba's Market, the Candlelight Cafe, J.K. Crossroads, the Camelot, the Otter River Hotel, the Otter River Sportsman's Club, Patriots Package, Royalston Fish and Game, Sandbaggers, Templeton Fish and Game, Templeton Spirit, Templewood Golf, Thirsty Turtles, Village Liquor, and Mini Mart. One thing I would point out, a couple days ago, there was an email from Diana Morrison at the Board of Health. They would not, the Board of Health would not be considering, would not issue a permit for food. And they have not had no occupancy inspections. The reason no food permit from the Board of Health is the Otter River Hotel is more than a year in arrear of property taxes, which means, and we have a town bylaw, 31, that states no permits for taxes going back more than a year. Actually, it's, excuse me, it's actually 32. Licenses, permits of delinquent taxpayers. The tax collector or other municipal official responsible for records of all municipal taxes, assessments, betterments, and other municipal charges herein referred to as the tax collector shall annually furnish to each department, board, commission, or division herein referred to as licensing authority that issues licenses or permits, including renewals and transfers, a list of any person, corporation, business enterprise hereinafter referred to as the party that has neglected or refused to pay any local taxes, fees, assessments, betterments, or other municipal charges for not less than 12-month period, that such party has not filed in good faith a pending application for an abatement of such tax or pending petition before the appellate tax board. The licensing authority may deny, revoke, or suspend any license or permit, including renewals and transfers, or any party whose name appears on said list furnished to the licensing authority from the tax collector, provided, however, that written notice is given to the party and the tax collector as required by applicable provisions of law, and the party is given a hearing to be held not earlier than 14 days after said notice. Said list shall be prima facie for evidence of denial, revocation, or suspension of said license or permit to any party. The tax collector shall have the right to intervene in any hearing conducted with respect to such license denial, revocation, or suspension. Any findings made by the licensing authority with respect to such license denial, revocation, suspension shall be made only for the purposes of such proceedings and shall not be relevant to or introduced in any other proceeding at law except for any appeal from such license denial, revocation, or suspension. Any license or permit denied, suspended, revoked under this section shall not be reissued or renewed until the license authority receives a certificate issued by the tax collector that the party is in good standing with respect to any and all local taxes, fees, assessments, betterments, or other municipal charges payable to the municipality as the date of issuance of said certificate. Yes?
Do we have that list from the tax collector?
I do not. I did ask today, I emailed to check on the Otter River Hotel because of the emailed concern from the Board of Health.
My thought just being because even though the bylaw says that we can obviously revoke their license, if we haven't given them the required notice and opportunity for hearing, I don't know as if we can take that into account at this time. Well, we have to have a list from the tax collector that she certified that says these are the list of people, and we have to give those people notice and give them an opportunity for a
They've been
hearing.
given 30 days.
Oh, they were, okay.
Well, they have, from the time the tax collector notifies them, which was in November at some point, till December 31st at midnight to pay their taxes in order to get their liquor license.
Okay.
Because that's
There is
when,
no hearing.
that is when.
Right.
It may be a moot point in that the building inspector, myself, and the police chief went on our rounds for annual liquor license inspections. And Donna informed me tonight that she did send out the letter properly to them. We went there at the appointed time, and there was no one at the Otter River Hotel. inspection anyway to get that part of it done, as they did more than comply last year, above and beyond what was required of them. And in fairness, I felt that at least that wouldn't be on me, it would be on the tax questions. We have not rescheduled to the Otter River Hotel because of the fact that they weren't there the first time. I would say that Larry would have the authority under the inspectional services before the tax question would invoke.
This happens every year with them. Usually they follow through by end of December with their taxes.
So that's why you recommended doing it pending.
Any inspections and taxes being paid for that, because they're whose taxes aren't current.
All right, we could have a motion to approve this list.
I will make a motion.
Pending for the, the payment of taxes by the auditor.
Only gotta pay through.
I will make a motion, to
Excuse me,
approve-
please?
To approve the liquor license as read pending all inspections and taxes being paid.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. At what particular point, or how many times would somebody that's hasn't paid their taxes, and they wait till the 11th hour, how many times does the town accept that as a common practice and not take into consideration some type of penalty?
I believe they are supposed to pay, it's not called a fine, but that's what it is.
Yes.
Yes. That is, I believe that is the penalty, the punishment, this thing that they have. There's a technical word for that, but when you go to pay your taxes, she takes that, she's supposed to, you're supposed to pay extra for being late.
Interest and penalties.
So,
Question is how many
all right, we have a motion made and seconded.
Since we're in the discussion phase, I mean, I think what Will is trying to point out here is we're making this motion, making the exception that, assuming that they, get inspected and they get paid. That's the exception. I mean, everyone else on the list has already been inspected, they've already paid their taxes. Granted, the Otter River Hotel has been in business in town for a long time and probably deserves, some sort of consideration. But if it's an ongoing year after year after year thing, because the process is that you pay all of your stuff, then you come for your licenses. So we're kind of doing this in reverse, where we're saying, okay, you're gonna get your license if and when this occurs. Now they wait till the very last minute day and then do it. So I think, there's certainly some, merit into, what Will just said,
And perhaps the bylaw should be changed, so not having a year, in excess of a year.
We tried to do that. We tried to get the bylaw changed at town meeting to 6 months, and it was approved at town meeting and then disallowed by the Attorney General. So it has to.
State law
because it's
supersedes.
State law, yes.
It's 1
Is what
year
it is.
in arrears,
So-
period. And anyone is entitled to be a tax deadbeat up to 1 year,
Year.
with interest and penalties. And that supersedes any local ordinance.
Yes, oh, sorry.
Try.
Yes.
I was just saying, assuming that everyone pays, it would actually be nice if everybody waited to the last minute and we would get all of the interest and penalties. If everyone paid late their taxes, that would be nice and for the bottom line at least.
I don't know. Do you have
Assuming
other
they
plans
ultimately
for New
pay.
Year's Eve?
I
pay mine on time, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
people pay for that privilege.
Yes, they do.
I remember them coming in on the morning of New Year's Eve because they were gonna be shut down if they didn't pay up.
Yeah.
They came in at 11 o'clock with their check.
But again, the point is, if we followed this procedure properly, we would not be authorizing them tonight. They come in, pay their bill on December 31st. Now in January, at a selectmen's meeting in January, now they would come for the license. So, yeah, if they're gonna wait till December 31st, then yep, they're gonna have 2 weeks when they can't operate business because they don't have, you know, a license, you know?
There have been other establishments
That
on
have
this
the
list
same thing.
who've run into similar issues over the years. So, right now, it seems to be one establishment, but it goes in cycles, and there's always at least one. So,
And they
It
have,
is what it is.
they have the state law on their side, and
They know it.
if, I believe if we pursue this in a way that we should take their license, we'll end up in court, we'll spend more money than we gain. And people know that. All right. Motion made and seconded for liquor licenses. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. The next item, Class 2, Class 3 licenses. I don't believe we have anybody in arrear. Class 2 license is to sell used automobiles. We have a limit of 21 in town. Class 3 license is to license to deal in junk, buying, selling of cars and trucks for parts and salvage. Town bylaw 30, there's a limit to 4, and this is town bylaw 31, which is limits to 21, and I believe we have 16, I believe. 16. So this would allow Class 2 license for Bill's Used Cars, Dana S. Prentice doing business as Car Works, Cash Inc. doing business as Chesterfield Motors, Richard and Sandra A.M. Estati doing business as The Classic Corner, Paul Constantino doing business COS Garage.
Jeff,
Mr. Bennett,
not the next one.
just skip it. Just skip it. The next one.
Skip the next one.
Mr.
Yes.
Okay. Fletcher Equipment Company, Franklin A. Machete doing business as Frank's Truck and Equipment Sales, Hank's Auto Sales, William R. Gilbert doing business as Randy's Automotive Sales, William R. Putnam doing business as MBW, Scott M. Berry, Scratch and Dent Auto Body and Sales, Scott B. McPherson doing business as Scott's Garage, Wilson Camargo doing business Wilson Auto Sales, Wilson Bus Lines, and Richard Trigny, Below Book Auto Sales. Class 3 licenses, Paul H. Constantino doing business as Constantino Salvage, William R. Putnam doing business as MBW, Simikowski Realty Trust doing business as Stan's Auto Parts, Frederick W. Hutchinson doing business as Templeton Auto Parts. So, I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the Class 2 licenses and Class 3 licenses as read. Pending inspections.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none? Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. The next item is for the automatic amusements. Excuse me, if, action on auto amusement licenses for the American Legion, the Candlelight Cafe, the Otter River Hotel, the Otter River Sportsman's Club, Royal,
No sandbaggers.
Royalston Fish and Game Club, I assume that, Templeton Fish and Game, and the Thirsty Turtle. Again, the Otter River Hotel, their tax issue.
I make a motion that we approve the auto amusement licenses as read, pending inspections and tax payment.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes?
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. The next item, live entertainment.
Where is your mind?
Excuse me, ladies, can we?
Every other Monday night.
Action on live entertainment. The American Legion, the Candlelight Cafe, J.K. Crossroads, the Camelot, the Outer River Hotel, the Outer River Sportsman's Club, Royalston Fish and Game, Templeton Fish and Game, and the Thirsty Turtle. I would assume pending inspections and payment of taxes in any motion.
I make a motion that we approve the live entertainment licenses as read, pending tax payment and inspections.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. Alrighty, here we go. Action on the common victrolas license. All steamed up, the American Legion. Cold shower back there, ladies. Baldwinville Pizza Barn, Baldwinville Station, Candlelight Cafe, Country Mischief, J.K. Crossroads, Camelot, the Outer River Hotel, the Outer River Sportsman's Club, Patriots Roast Beef and Grill, Royalston Fish and Game, Templeton Country Store, Templeton Fish and Game, Templewood Golf Course, the Kitchen Garden, the Thirsty Turtle, the Village Pizza in Baldwinville. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the common victualers licenses as read, pending inspection and tax payment.
Motion made.
Second, I'm sorry.
That's all
I
right.
need to say the second pizza place involved. You got two places involved. I have to say Bill's.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Pete had a question.
Do you have a question, Pete?
No, she's.
Yeah, we did.
You said Village Pizza.
Yeah.
I did. Okay. Hearing none, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
And yes. Do we have any appointments to make?
No?
No.
Open space, we did.
Yeah, but we did that last time.
Should have been two, I think, two people.
There was,
Karen Tucker and.
Right, we were pending, but I don't think we've heard from either Bob
we
Olson.
hadn't, no, she hadn't heard.
Right, or
So
Karen
no, there
Tucker.
aren't any.
Okay. We will pass on appointments. Does anyone have any announcement? Actually, the
Oh,
board,
sorry. I think the Jack Frost Festival went well.
I got a comment on that, Jack. It was nice. I got one thing. The designer of that Baldwin Road should be ashamed of himself. The sidewalks came right out to the middle of the road in front of the church. Where's it go to? You got a sidewalks going to no place. People try to cross there, comes out and goes. The center of your town's got no sidewalks. Who the hell ever designed that should be ashamed of himself. The Common Improvement Committee should never accepted that. Look in front of the church. When you come out by
yeah, I think their discussions, their plans, the Common Improvement Committee has, and Alan, I believe, has brought this up as the Cemetery Parks Commissioner, that most of the trees on the common,
it's got nothing to do with the
not
trees.
most, wait, please, they are in bad shape, and he eventually says pretty soon, sooner rather than later, they're gonna have to be cut down. And Alan had come before the board and expressed just a general statement, and I believe it was discussed at the common improvement, that his plan, when it was time to replant the trees, excuse me, was not to replant all the same kind. Even some of the trees on the common area, the grass area in front of like the library and stuff, while they look good from afar, he said, some of them you go up and you look at, and you know they're on the downhill slide. I believe he even discussed he could get American walnut. There's some company, I think it's in Tennessee, where they have are growing those trees, bringing them back. And Alan's thought was to plant a couple of each tree, so like the Dutch elm, they all don't get hit by this if there's a disease or a pest or something. I know they have like conceptual drawings, and they had meetings, input from citizens and stuff about sidewalks and about burying the cables, light, power, phone, and everything, where the World War I monument is, going under 101 and up South Road, even with the Templeton Center Elementary School. I went to one of those. I suggested moving at the time the World War II monument at the end of Ballinville Road in front of the Historical Society, along with the World War I. I was almost tarred and feathered by some people. My suggestion was to move those monuments in front of the historical building and have like a monument row and put in a nice flag lit up all the time, where you wouldn't, at that time, you wouldn't have to cross the road to see the World War II monument. There was talk about that little road that goes straight across from the country store, across 101 to 2A, that little by the bandstand, of closing that off and making your left turns out on 2A. There was some issue with the way the road dips. So there was plans, but every time the committee came to town meeting or looked for funds, they always got shot down. So why it looks like it goes nowhere, they were trying to time their work with the Ballinville Road redesign, but they were unable to get funds. No funds, no plans, no grants. Planning board chair right there, he sees that all the time. If you don't have the plan, you don't have the money, you don't get the plan, you don't have the plan, you don't get a grant. You can't, they won't accept you applying for a grant without an engineered plan, at least the design. They even tried to go to like Monty Tech or a couple of the UMass Amherst, see if they could find a student to draw up some stuff. It is no funding, no nothing, so we just couldn't tie it in with it. Where it'll go from here, anyone knows, but eventually I'm sure, you know, there could be a crosswalk, there could be sidewalks around the common and things, but I know it does. We joined the state of Alaska. They have a bridge to nowhere. We have a sidewalk that goes nowhere. All right, the last item, selectmen's comments. This was something that started out, you know, if you see something or someone says anything or you observe or just you want to give an attaboy to somebody or just comment on something, it gives the members of the board a chance to say anything if they wish. So, Ken?
I just wanted to thank everyone that participated with or came to, I'm not going to mention any names because I know I'll forget someone, but everyone, well, I'll mention Alan because he was there and a big help, but to all the people that helped to plan and put together kind of the Jack Frost Festival and working to coordinate that with the official town tree lightings, I think that was a great opportunity. There were I would venture a guess that the Historical Society has not had that many children running around in there, and I mean, unless it's a school trip in quite a while. So it was really good. There were lines of kids to get that picture taken with Santa in there, and it was just a really good activity. I think it brought a lot of people out despite the fact that it was pretty raw weather, and so thank you everyone who participated in that or came out or yeah.
Julie?
I attended the sewer commission meeting tonight about the sewer rate hearing, and they have not finalized what the rate increase will be. They have had a rate study done and they've paid for it. The original proposal, I believe, called for a 35% increase for the first year, and then an additional 4% increase. There were 8 people there. I think they're going to have more meetings to gather public input. And even if you're not on a sewer line, this affects every business, every town office, the schools. These increases in your water and sewer rates affect everyone, okay? Because your tax dollars are going to pay these increases in these public buildings. So I think they're going to get the word out. I think it was helpful that you made the announcement and that got people to attend the meeting.
Doug?
Just a couple little things, again, senior center related. I want to, thank all the volunteers that have worked with me the last 3 Saturdays, getting some, needed work done over there. So I do appreciate that. And the Council on Aging is having the last yard sale, fundraising yard sale, this Saturday at East Templeton. It's from 7 to 11, and it's, $5 a box. So bring a box, fill it up, $5.
Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. And I hope nobody was driving on 290 the other day.
I was.
They just treated that road.
Never mind. One thing I'd just like to put out, sometimes people don't always get the recognition, and things get done that they get talked about sometimes, but not much attention, or people don't pay attention. There's often talk at these meetings and other meetings, elementary school building committee, the school committee, about, they involve always town assets, taking care of taxpayer property, most generally buildings. Why don't you do this? How come that hasn't been painted? Da da da. Money's usually, the reason, or this, that, and everything. Even though we did have a thing at the Board of Selectmen's meeting where, as often is done with a town project, the permit fee was waived by the board for some work being done on a couple of town buildings, namely the fire station and the building where the assessor's office is. Board of Health and the building department is located along with the fire chief's office. There's been some behind the scenes, very quietly, work being done to improve on some of these facilities. Fire station in Templeton Center, some of the doors, I was given a tour of the building at the Arts and Crafts Festival. There's a door that was like literally rotting off the hinges. There was another side door. There's a so-called fire escape wood, looked like it was falling apart. I'd jump out the window. I believe I made a statement at the meeting before I'd run down that thing. Issue with the heating in the assessor's office. I know they've had issues in the past. That has been worked on and improved on. And all of this was done through the initiative of the fire chief. And he has been very diligent about saving taxpayers' dollars, trying to get the work done for the least amount of cost. He doesn't take the first bid. He does homework. He looks. He talks to prospective contractors and convinces them, hey, you do it this way, you can save money. So he has been improving a couple of town buildings. He's been doing it financially responsible, and it provides safety, and it is trying to take care of the buildings that and equipment that you, the taxpayers, pay for. And I would like to thank Ray Laporte for doing that. As I said, it doesn't always get acknowledged.
I'd just like to thank the crew that I work with, because they've dedicated themselves to improving the town buildings. And if it wasn't for them, then it wouldn't have ever happened.
So, and again, to top off what Ken said about kids being in Historical Society, again, at the Arts and Crafts Festival, I went through a tour, I talked with Harry Aldridge. And I talked about how I went through there as a kid in grammar school. And they had said they would like to get the kids back in there and get trips, more trips and things like that. So it was good, good opportunity for kids to go in there and see what's in there, maybe get interested in it. And as they're trying to do to get the younger generation interested in it, to carry that on and maybe get a couple people in there like Harry and Brian Tangaway and a few others who keep working and keep working.